Welcome back. We know that for some who are dealing with a loss of a loved one or illness in the family, that sometimes the holidays can come with different kinds of challenges and even grief through the holiday season. And here to give us some advice on how to cope with that and support someone who may be dealing with holiday grief, we welcome Cheryl Wolverton, a bereavement counselor from Hospice of the Bluegrass. Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It can be so hard for families, whether it's recent or whether it's just the traditions of a family member that's no longer with them that they're thinking about through this holiday season, right?
Exactly. And what I like to focus on when we're talking about the holidays is really the ABCs of grief in the holidays. And the first thing is to anticipate. Anticipate what it is that you're afraid is going to happen, what are you fearful is going to happen, because often individuals will come to us and say, I'm afraid of Christmas, or I'm afraid of Thanksgiving. And I ask them to break it down. What are you afraid of? What do you think is going to happen on that day? And by doing that, whether it's, well, I'm going to cry all day. Well, then if you feel that you're going to cry, then is there someplace in your house that you can go to cry? And the likelihood is you may, and doubtful that you're going to cry all day. Perhaps that we're fearful, there's going to be that empty chair at the table. Well, then talk about, then, do you want to leave that chair empty? Or do you need to have somebody else take on that chair where other people have sat in the past? When it comes to the B of the ABCs, it's balance, in realizing that you don't have to do everything that you've always done with the past holiday season. The holidays are so all about ritual and tradition. And so each year then we think, well, last year this is what we did. We've always put the Christmas tree in this place, or we've always had this for dinner. And it's realizing that you don't have to this year do that. And maybe then you want to pick and choose what you do. That maybe instead of putting the Christmas tree in the living room, you're going to put it in another room. Or maybe even do a smaller tree. Just balancing it out and realizing you don't have to do everything. The third thing, the C, is to communicate with your family members, with your friends, because often when we're grieving, we're not communicating. We're just holding it all in, and particularly with families, everybody in a family, when there's been a death, is grieving. And everyone has their own needs, and they may be wanting to do something different, but they're afraid if I say something to mom or to the kids, it's going to upset them even more. And one of the things as a counselor is often if I see a couple of different family members, and I'm hearing them all say the same thing, but they're not saying it to each other. And so I encourage them to communicate. What do you want? What do you need to do? And that helps. And then the third thing is simplify. It kind of goes back to the balance, too, of that you can make some changes. That just because in the past you have done so many things doesn't mean that this year you have to do it. Now, next year you may want to go back to those traditions which are comfortable, but it's not necessarily something you have to do.
I heard a psychologist in an interview earlier this month say you don't have to get an A+ on everything. No. That if you have to scale back and make some adjustments, and maybe things weren't the way Grandma did it or Mom or Dad always did things, but it's still a time to be with those you do love that are still around, right?
Exactly. And enjoy who you do have. And as I said, people are so fearful that this day is going to be so overwhelming and it's going to be horrible. And often it's the anticipation of certain events. And of course right now we're talking about Christmas, maybe even New Year's, but I want to look at the whole year, that often people who are grieving have so many days throughout the year that are significant to them. And that kind of goes back to communicating with people and letting them know, hey, this might be a difficult day, whether it be an anniversary date. I had one client in particular who was attending a support group, and she didn't come that night, and she later shared, well, I didn't come that night because that was the anniversary of when we got engaged. And she needs someone to validate that, well, of course, that's a significant date in your life, too. And it all goes back to doing the same things, of taking care of yourself and what do you need to do on that day, and just communicating with people.
Well, some wonderful advice. Thank you so much for being with us to share this important information. And if you would like to learn anything more about Hospice of the Bluegrass and the services that they offer, support groups, and additional coping information, you can visit the website at the bottom of your screen or give them a call at the number listed there. We'll be right back with a check of your forecast.
Temperatures are a bit cool today, and we're under some thick cloud cover, but tomorrow, much better. The sunshine will come out. I'll show you that full forecast coming right up after the break.
Hello, I'm Major Aaron Whitlock. My family and I are stationed at Osan Air Base, Republic of Korea. We want to say happy holidays to our families and friends back home in Greene County, Kentucky. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Happy holidays.